So I thought it'd be a good opportunity to walk through the engine room while it's not about to burst my eardrums. It's our toilet. Nobody really uses that. Right. Right, the number 2 end. So, flash is on. So that's our air compressor. So it has a main shaft in the middle. It's driven by the engine. So that makes all the air, compressed air for the locomotive, goes into the two big main reservoir tanks and is then used for all the air systems, which are like sanding, all the air brakes, the horn, yeah, the loco brakes, all that kind of stuff. I think that's it's some sort of big filter in there. I don't really know. We don't really need to know that kind of stuff though. That's the aircon. It's part of the big aircon unit in there. And then once we kind of come down here a bit more, you can kind of see, it's a bit hard, but there's a big like cylinder tank in here. That's the lube oil filter. So the engine oil goes through, there's like 8 massive cylinders inside of there, similar to the oil filters on your car. And they pretty much go, yeah, it goes through 8 of them. That's the coolant expansion tank in there. So it's full of engine. Got sand level, so you can see the sands all the way down the bottom. We use a fair bit of sand on the shunt when it gets slippery, pushing heavy loads up the hill. They're just some isolations for the sanding valves. This is where all the magic happens. So, yeah, so that's the engine coolant expansion tank. So when we fill it, this kind of releases the pressure. You can see it's drains out the bottom. And then we fill it there, we open that valve up and fill it. Oh. That's the engine coolant level. That's our engine start. So it's our fuel prime cycle. So pretty much prime the fuel. It purges all the fuel lines, gets rid of any air in the fuel lines through the whole engine. We do that for about, I don't know, 10 to 15 seconds, and then we try and start it. And when we start it, it engages 2 massive starter motors, which I'll show you in a sec. Yeah, so you got that. You've got our governor. So this is what controls all the air and the fuel into the engine. So I've got some pictures. Oh, there you go. So there's supply oil, drain oil. I think this is an air line from memory. Not sure what that is. It goes into the overspeed. So I've got a big diagram of this. Oh, look, it shows you in the back. We don't really need to know that, but there's an engine oil governor oil sight glass, and then that little button here. This thing, yeah, where is it? There it is. Yeah, so that thing just there, that shuts down if the engine has low oil pressure. It'll actually push out and cut fuel supply to the engine, which will shut it down. Down here is a big lube oil pump down the bottom, and then there's a water pump for the right hand bank, and there's another water pump. Pretty sure, yeah, there's another water pump over there for the left-hand bank of all the big jackets around the cylinders. There's a lay shaft lever, so this controls. So this is like a manual lever. It controls the air and the fuel, the diesel injectors. So when you actually start the engine, this will actually move because it's controlled by the governor. It's just here. You can see the different rack positions. Sometimes we need to push it a bit more to give the engine a little bit more fuel or air if it's like cold. And then these are just some safety switches. So if the crankcase, which is the like air box along the engine, if that has excessive air pressure, it'll pop this out. Low water pressure. So if the engine has low water pressure, this button will pop out, which is also, this goes up to the governor and it'll also shut the engine down. We have an overspeed lever here. So this big mechanism on top, it's an overspeed mechanism. So if the engine goes into overspeed condition, like RPM wise, it'll actually cut air and fuel to the engine and shut it down straight away within about 3 seconds. And then these little things here, they're connected to inside the cylinders. So sometimes before you start the engine, you actually cock them pretty much half open, and then you come down here, and there's a manual lever here. So that's the big flywheel off the engine. So you can manually turn it about 2 or 3 revolutions, and any water that's trapped in the cylinders will come out here. So they're like a cylinder kind of water ejection port thing. Now these big covers here, that's the air box. So that's all the kind of area around the cylinder, the power assemblies with the cylinders and all that kind of stuff. Down here, that's the oil pan. So that's where the oil's stored, pretty much down that whole bottom. It's full of oil. I think not the whole thing, but like, I don't know, some of it. They're the exhausts. So I think that's part of the radiator. Those 2 pipes, that's the exhaust on top. And then we'll open up these again. Ow. See if we can, yeah, there we go. Alright, so that's your power assembly. So you've got 2 exhaust ports. So you've got exhaust port on the camshaft. That's what it is, camshaft. On the camshaft, you've got exhaust, and a diesel injector in the middle. Now I've got oil all over my hands. Then you've got fuel supply. So that fuel supply into the injector, and you've got a fuel return. So any fuel that doesn't get burnt in the injector cycle returns, and that goes back. That goes along the whole entire engine. So you've got these massive 4 big bolts. They hold the actual power assembly in, and then you can see it just goes kind of down. It all drains kind of down that way. But yeah, so you've got 16 cylinders in this engine. So 16 of these big things. Yeah, so I'll just put the phone down for a sec. Right, so that's that. And back here, we've got a turbocharger. So this big thing. You've got the exhaust, the actual exhaust, where the exhaust actually comes out here. And then, yeah, you got the flywheel, the massive, this is the massive generator or alternator. Fan blower, the blower motor. So that blows air down onto the traction motors. So there's one here and one at the other end. It does each bogie, and it blows cool air over the traction motors to help keep them cool when they're under load. Yeah, that's our huge big generator that is directly powered off the engine, so that gives us all the power. Traction motors. This is our air rack. So this pretty much controls everything to do with our train braking systems and our independent brake for the locomotive. So I think both of these, or one of these, are the auxiliary reservoir, so that's to do with our train brake. Then you've got some different kind of valves here that are connected to our automatic brake for our wagons. Your little magnet valve. Then you've got a vigilance, isolation. It's just like a safety system. And then these are the little modules. Oh, okay, that one's not opening. Yeah, so there's like little electrical modules up there that have fault lights and stuff, and we can reset when there's any loco faults. As you can see, this is our knife switch. It's our main battery, 72 volts. Comes up to all this stuff. Right, we're at the other side of the engine. Oh god. Okay. So, yeah, that's the other side of the exhaust port. I think that's a turbocharger. Oh yeah, it even says turbocharger lube oil filter. Excellent. These are the huge big starter motors. You can see they kind of engage directly onto the flywheel. And I think this is the other side of the filter blower motor. That's a little like lube oil pump as well down there. But this is same side as the other engine. It's all the same. So down here you've got your fuel filters. So you've got a number 1 filter, number 2 filter. That's the other side of your governor up here. So there's that low oil plunger, so it pulls out, so that's like tripped, and it pushes back in, resets. That's a water pump, just here. So water comes from the the coolant expansion tank, flows down along here into the water pump on this side. This is for this half of the engine, and then it goes kind of down out there into all the jackets around all the cylinders. So they call it like a jacket water pump. This is a lube oil strainer. So in here there's like 2 massive filters that pop out, and the oil gets sucked into the bottom of that, goes through these, they're like strainers, so they filter out any muck. Then it goes into this oil filler box here, and then from there kind of goes into the engine in all different kinds of ways. Here's the other side of that lube oil filter. So there's like 8 big cylinders, like 1, 2, kind of all the way around, and that's where all the lube oil gets strained. So yeah, it's not often we have these things shut down, so it's nice to do a bit of a walkthrough. Oh, there you go. There's a motor up there. Some commutator ring and brushes and stuff. That's the air compressor drive shaft, so that comes off here and goes straight to the air compressor. I don't think you have another drive shaft up in here. I think it's only the one, here, the main one. And yeah, that's the overspeed mechanism. So that's when it's at the 1 o'clock position, it's tripped, so you pull it back and click it into the 10 o'clock position. That's this side. They're the fuel supply and return lines that go along the engine. And yeah, that's about it. Now we're going to awkwardly try and step back over the compressor drive shaft. Oh, it's even worse when it's running because that thing's spinning at like 1,000,000 miles an hour. Make sure your laces are all tied up. And that concludes today.